welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about things I don't like with my Lexus ISF. I've done many videos on how much I love this car. So now let's talk about things that wind me up. Right, we'll start off small. A thing that winds me up is the brake dust. And a lot of ISF owners experience it. I'm sure it's just because they're big 6-pot Brembos, but the brake dust is ridiculous. Since painting these wheels silver, it becomes a lot more obvious. I cleaned these wheels, I don't even know, like 3 days ago, and they're like this. So yeah, that is something that winds me up. It's just always filthy. Another exterior gripe I have is with the exhaust. It's not the stack tips that some of you don't like. I love them. It's the fact these are aftermarket and the standard ones are fake, and they have a sort of fascia that clips into here, and there's clips. You can see, if you look in that gap, you can see some sort of exposed clips which look a little bit unfinished because of this aftermarket system. It might be hard to see in those clips, but I'm being very nitpicky because I've gone for sort of an OEM plus finish, want it to be very clean, and something like that just makes it look a little bit unfinished. Some of you might be thinking, why don't you just cut them off, get a Dremel at it, cut it off, sand it off, and be done. I agree, but I still have the standard exhaust, all the OEM equipment, and I might want to put it back on if I ever sell the car. They might want to put them back on, so I kind of just want to keep it factory. I don't really want to be cutting anything. The same reason I haven't rolled the rear arches as well, to be honest. Speaking of rolled arches, this is annoying. Again, easy fix, but I had 15mm spacers on, I put it out and they rubbed like hell. So the 275 tyres, too wide. I've said this before, I'm gonna get 265, put the spacers back on, but it's just slightly annoying because I just want them further out, but I need to wait until the tyres run out of tread. Now moving under the bonnet, I love the engine. Not gonna talk about that because it's brilliant, the highlight of the car. However, the looks of it, there's a big plastic engine cover. I don't really like plastic engine covers. It's quite common on modern cars. This is also a very nice engine under there, and underneath all the wires in this plastic cover, there's a really nice intake manifold, and Lexus, for some reason, covered it up, and that just kind of winds me up a little bit. This is what it looks like under the cover, and you can tell why they covered it up because that is a mess. But underneath all that mess, a nice V8 intake manifold, which I'm just ashamed they covered up, really. This is meant to be the easy bit. There we go. Another minor gripe is because this is a big 5-litre V8, small engine bay, it is absolutely packed in there. There's not a lot of room and not a lot of space if you want to do any engine work. I've not had to do any, but it does look a bit daunting if, you know, a coolant hose was to go or something like that. I imagine it being a bit of a nightmare. Another thing is, which is a bit of a double-edged sword, is the lack of aftermarket support, especially here in the UK. These cars aren't very common. They're not very commonly modified. Well, they are, but not aesthetically. You know, other cars I've had, MX-5s, S2000s, loads of stuff. This car, if you want to modify it, you're going to have to go to America, to specific companies, and everything's very expensive. Like I say, double-edged sword because these cars are so special, so aggressive, so nice from factory that I don't know if I'd want to put things on it, but I'd like the option to. My main gripes with the car are with the interior, more specifically the infotainment system, if you can call it that, where the heating is, the map, the audio, everything. So it's dated quite badly. It's a 2010 car, it's dated quite badly. That's not the gripe because cars date. The heating, for whatever reason, Lexus put it in the screen. So there's a touch screen you can press to change the temp stuff. I hate that. There are buttons, so you don't generally have to press it. Like every day, I don't really use the screen too much because there's buttons for auto, things like that. But also the temp adjuster is a up arrow and a down arrow, and it goes up and down in 0.5 degrees, which is very frustrating. And what's particularly frustrating about the temperature adjustment being an arrow up and down and not a knob is the fact they know how to do knobs. There are knobs for the volume, there are knobs for the heated seat. So that's a knob, but for some reason the temp isn't. It's up and down in 0.5, which doesn't make sense to me. Also with the screen itself, it is just quite low resolution, which generally isn't an issue, but if I go to a reverse camera, it is a little bit of an issue because it just makes the camera look rubbish. There is one, so I can't complain too much, but it's just a small gripe, but just aging. You can fix it. People put Android big units in here, but I just think they look naff. I want the OEM finish. If ideal world, I'd have the OEM, everything OEM, but just an upgraded screen with high resolution. That would be my ideal, but I don't think that exists, and a bit above my ability in terms of modifications. Another gripe I have is the gear selector. I think it's quite big. It's a big center focus of the interior, and it does date the car. It looks like a Camry. To be fair, it doesn't look too different from the Lexuses from 1990 with the selector modes. It's just very big. If you look at the E92, for example, same era, that was an automatic, just a little DCT knob, and it just looks clean and nice. This takes up a lot of space and looks very dated. It doesn't bother me too much, but I think out of the whole interior, it's aged quite well, apart from the screen and this. I think this just looks bad. And also, the sequential is the wrong way around. That's up and back is down, which just doesn't make sense. I don't use it, I only stick to the flappy paddles, but if it was the right way around, I might use it. Now, the seats, I think they look good. I love the white. I think they're sporty, they're comfy. I did a massive European road trip, no problems with my back, good adjustment. However, I just wish, again, nitpicking, I just wish they were a little bit more special. In the later ones, 2014, they had an F embroidered here. And in the RCF, they have very nice seats, as most of you will know. And I just wish they just looked a little bit more special. An F embroidered here, or something to jazz it up a little bit, make it feel a bit more special. But in terms of sitting in, which is what you do, it's good. Right, so you join me inside the car at some traffic lights. Let's talk about everything I don't like in terms of driving the car. The biggest issue with this car I found in my ownership is, and this is sort of contradicting other things I've said in other videos where it's like, oh, don't worry about it, is the MPGs, the miles per gallon. It is quite annoying when I'm filling up and I'm just doing some errands, you know, just errand running, and I'm getting 14 miles per gallon. It is not ideal. If I'm doing long runs, like the big European road trip I did, 30 plus, perfect, no problems at all. Even high 20s, mid to high 20s, I can deal with that, no problem. But when I'm just going 5 minutes, 10 minutes here, it doesn't even like fully warm up the car. If I have to do that during the week or whatever, that is quite annoying. So that is something that is irritating, the miles per gallon. I've already talked about this and it's winding me up right now, the temperature thing. You can do voice command actually, which I actually found out the other day. So if I press this button on the steering wheel, wait.
After the beep, say a command.
22 degrees.
22 degrees.
So that's easier than using the buttons. Another thing is if you want to turn the traction control off for whatever reason, no judgment here, it does have an LSD, you have to hold it down, which is quite irritating because you've got to hold it down for a while and then it goes off. You can press it once and it goes off, but it doesn't fully go off. So you've got to hold it down for about 5 seconds, then it goes off, which is kind of irritating. I want to just be able to turn it off on a switch, not have to hold it down. Again, I am definitely nitpicking, but that is something that's annoying. Another gripe, which I'm experiencing right now, is I've been driving the car for about 15 minutes or so, and it's not fully up to operating temperature yet. It's on 2 bars oil temp, so where the coolant temp is there, the oil temp isn't, because big 5 litre V8, it's cold outside, it takes a minute to warm up. So if you are only doing short journeys for whatever reason, you're just commuting in this car 15, 20 minutes, in the winter, you're going to struggle to get up to temp. And yeah, if you're like me, very strong on mechanical sympathy, I don't hoon it unless it's up to temp. I don't even take it above like 3,000, well, 3,000 really. That brings me to another gripe actually. The displays for the oil temp is just bars. It's a bit like my S2000 used to be, just digital bars. I'd rather either a gauge, so it's more intricate, you know, the differences between the numbers, you know, being sort of big, because in this it's like 2 bars and there's quite a big difference between 2 bars and 3 bars and 4 bars, etc. So again, small gripe, but something to consider. Right, thank you for watching. That is everything I don't like about my ISF. If you want to see anything else on this car, make sure to drop in the comments, let me know, and I can do a video on it. Loads more videos coming 2026. Big year for me, big year for Luke on cars. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, appreciate it. Cheers.